Howdy everyone, Poacher here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we're doing the hero spotlight for both Eva and Ramfort. So it's going to be a little bit of a long video, but we'll cover as much as we can. We're not going to do a fun battle at the end because we've done a video with a battle in it already, the previous one, so go and watch that. Feel free to, if you want to see how they act in battle. And please remember that this is still quite early for these heroes. There are things that could be changed. It's important to note, Playcourt want me to let you know that they are still under development. Until they are released in-game or an official announcement is made by Playcourt, there is always chance that these characters are subject to change. So let's jump into it. We'll cover these two heroes. There's a lot to go through, and yeah, let's do it. Eva is the healer for the Cloud Wanderer, and she comes in with a whopping 12 million HP, just like the other allies of her race. She has a high health pool. Her speed is at 225, her armor is 389k, magic damage resistance 450k, magic basic damage is 1.2 million, magical critical hit chance is 40%, magical critical damage is 1.6 million. So let's jump into the arena and have a look at this character's abilities. Moving into the arena, we have Eva's basic attack, Eye Burn, triggers the healer damage class mark, deals magic damage to one target, has a 15% chance per light ally to deal additional damage with this attack equal to 80% of her basic attack. So just a bonus chance of dealing a little bit of extra damage. There we go. We triggered at that time. There was 2 million damage there. Pretty decent, pretty straightforward, nothing complicated about the ability. Moving on to her second ability, we have Light Cyclones. Triggers the healer damage class mark, or healer class mark, doesn't do damage. Cast 2 healing buffs on light allies. Every other allied wanderer increases the number of buffs by 2 at the start of the turn. Remove 1 effect and heals an ally for 10% of their max HP. Cast 1 dot effect on every enemy. So we should get a total of 6 stacks or 8. Let's have a look. So we're going to go ahead and cast it. There we go. So 8. Yeah, so there's 8. So, yeah, that's a lot. If overall, that's 80% max HP. It's fairly decent. It's actually really decent. The only downfall, though, is the buff. So it can be removed. So just keep that in mind. But other than that, she has a lot of healing capacity. 10% max HP is pretty decent. It's just a drawn-out element instead of straight away beneficial healing. So this would excel in areas like Cradle of Chaos, for example, or content like raids where you are fighting waves of enemies instead of one team, where it's do or die from the beginning. In raids and COC, at least you have a chance to work up and get the most out of these abilities. So just keep that in mind. But this also plays in part with Ramfort as well when we go over him. He has pretty decent tanking capabilities, so there may be the chance that there are a few rounds that pop off before the match ends, and then cast 1 dot on enemies. So I mean, sure, why not? That's important as well. Moving on to Eva's third ability, Beware the Ray, triggers the healer class mark. It is a flying skill. Deals magic damage to all enemies. Triggers 3 healing buffs used on allies. The buff dissipates after healing an ally. So this is going to speed up those 10% max HP heals. You're not going to have to wait 3 turns. You can trigger 3 at once. Extends the effect of buffs on allies by 2 turns. Only those effects that end after a specific number of turns can be extended. The effects that the Wanderers get from their passive skills are not extended. So this works really well with Ramfort and what he can offer to a team in terms of buffs as well. So pretty nice ability. We'll look at the animation. She'll fly up in the air, beautiful, and blast the enemy. Bit of crit there, then Theodore come through. Support. The team does surprisingly well in terms of synergy. Like, they really do work together. I'm not bashing the team I'm about to mention. I just want to do a comparison. But the Renegades, for example, they don't feel like they have synergy. They're just strong for the sake of being strong. But this team, I don't know. It has a really nice flow to it, I think. So we will move on to the passive now, and then we'll jump over to Ramfort. Finally, moving on to Eva's passive, we have Shadow Healer. At the start of a round, Eva hides for 3 turns. Stealth cannot be removed before it ends. Every time another ally uses a flying skill, Eva restores 25% of max HP to the ally with the lowest remaining HP. Once per battle, when Eva dies, she revives herself and 2 random allies with 80% of their max HP. So, yeah, It's a lot. She is a fairly decent support unit. There is a lot of healing. From what I've seen so far, every single one of the Cloud Wanderers has a flying skill, so that in itself is a lot of healing. It also adds a little to how you play the team. Do you want to use their flying skills first, or do you want to save them for healing later on? So there's a bit of a way you can work these characters. I know for Theodore, for example, it's best not to use his flying skill first because his other ability applies static, and then his flying skill stuns enemies that have static applied to them. So that's a workaround. You may want to save his flying skill to a bit later on. So she's able to do a lot for the team. She's tanky. She can add defensive capabilities. She can resurrect herself and 2 allies. She's actually quite a universal hero as well. From memory, can't think of anything that states Cloud Wanderers at all from memory. So, yeah, she's actually a universal hero. So it'd be interesting to see how people use this character. The only downfall for this, and again, we'll talk about this when we get to Ramfort, is such a prominent tank that it's hard to see ever being killed first, especially when she can hide as well. But we'll go into Ramfort now. We'll talk about him, his abilities, and what he brings to the team as well. Moving on to Ramfort, and I just want to state something about this character's design because it actually made me a bit sad. He has lost one of his wings. One of his wings is an engineered wing. He lost one somehow, and yeah, so he has one real wing. There we go. You can see it right there. It's been cut off. So yeah, pretty sad, but there you go. There's the brilliance of Playcot's design. So let's jump into stats. He comes in at and I am pretty sure, the largest health pool, untouched, not buffed in any way, at 17 million. His speed is not bad either at 249. Armor 953k, magic damage resistance 641k, basic damage 1.4 million, crit hit chance 30%, critical damage 1.9 million. So let's jump into the arena now and check out this character's abilities and what he is offering to the Cloud Wanderers. Moving into the arena, we have Ramfort's basic attack. Lion's Claw triggers the tank class mark, deals 2 strikes in a row to 1 target. Casts slowdown on the target, reducing their speed by 60% for 3 turns. If the target is already slowed, casts the debuff blocking bonus initiative for 3 turns. So has the ability to lock down initiative. So quite good. We're going to go ahead and attack the Worm Priest. So let's have a look at the animation. He flies across and swipes. Does a fair bit of damage as well. So, yeah, nice, basic. It synergizes well with Eva. However, Eva moves after him. So, but there is ability to play around with slowdowns and how you work those around. You're not going to be determining the whole fight on this, but it's just an added bonus. So we'll move into his first special now. Ramfort's first special ability, or second skill, whatever you like to call it, is Vicious Peck. Triggers the tank class mark. Removes all buffs from the target with a 20% chance per light ally. So again, he's got a fair bit of universality to him. He can work with other characters, not just Cloud Wanderers. Deals damage to 1 target. If the target is already slowed, also makes them skip 2 turns. So now he has added crowd control as well. We'll have a look at the animation. That's not the animation. That's his basic attack. Poultry, what are you doing? Let's go back to him. He's just showing off a little bit here because he's so proud of just how weaponized he is. And let's use the ability. There we go. So big ability, taking out the Worm Priest. Big blast of energy from his engineered wing. He's doing all right. Has turn skip. So that's something now you're going to start trying to work around, because skipping a character's turn for 2 turns is not a horrible thing to have at all. Ramfort's third ability, Cloud Singer, is a flying skill. Cast 6 stacks of a buff decreasing damage received by 50% per stack on allied wanderers. Other light allies receive half as many stacks. 1 stack is spent each time an ally receives damage. Cast slowdown on all enemies, reducing their speed by 50% for 3 turns. If the target is already slowed, Ramfort casts 2 stacks of the Disorient debuff. Each time a disorientated target receives damage, except from dot effects, their initiative is reduced by 40%. 1 stack is spent each time the target receives damage. So when you add this to the insane amount of health these characters have, this team becomes quite tanky. Now, in saying that, remember that these are buffs. They can be removed, but still goes to say that it makes the team, extremely strong. They become a brick wall. Now, add on top of this the fact that Eva can extend buffs as well. So this is going to last longer than intended. It is, like I said, the team has really good synergy. So you will most likely want to be trying to fight this team with characters that can remove buffs because they benefit heavily from defense and healing. And they are built in a way that they are there for the long run. They are going to last as long as possible, and they are just going to keep whittling you down until you've got nothing left. So that's their strength, is just their survivability and their tankiness. So we'll move over to the passive now, and that will do it. Oh, no, sorry. Gotta look at the animation. So let's go ahead. He jumps up, and I love how they actually fly when they're casting their ability. There you go, Theodore, with his support. Beautiful. It's a work of art. Finally, ending the video off, we have Ramfort's passive, Celestial Protector. At the start of a round, Ramfort receives provocation for 3 turns. Ramfort starts the round with 8 stacks of a buff, reducing his damage taken by 50%. 1 stack is spent each time he receives damage. This effect cannot be removed before it ends. Whenever an allied wanderer uses a flying skill, Ramfort will cast provocation on himself for 2 turns. If he already has provocation, it lasts 1 more turn. So this is where he becomes an amazing tank. He is able to just almost endlessly have taunt up. The only downfall is buff removal. But in saying that, if his taunt is removed, someone uses a flying skill, it's thrown back on him. The only other workaround, of course, is the ability to bypass taunt debuffs. There's no way around that. You're not going to stop that. Unless, of course, there's a character on this team, and we haven't covered them all yet, that can prevent debuffs from being applied to allies. But honestly, I'm not even sure. I haven't looked at the other characters yet in depth. So, yeah, Ramfort is going to be a pain. He's a mixture of Magnus and Siegfried. And I'm not talking old school Siegfried that we all know. I'm talking about Knights of the Council Siegfried. Like, he is here. He is going to take minimal damage. He's going to have taunt up just constantly. He can increase his damage reduction if needed. He's there. He's there for the long haul. So, yeah, it's a very strong tank. I really like the character. I think I'm a sucker just because he's lost his wing, to be honest. I think he's just won my heart over. But there you go. There are 2 more of the Cloud Wanderers. In the next video, I hope to be covering Roxanne, the leader. We'll go over her separately in her own video simply because she is the leader. She deserves her own spotlight. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability. And if you're on the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.